Hello, everyone. Hello, here. Thank you all for joining my session. My name is Ramasankar Molleti. I've been working in this IT field for over a decade now, working as a principal platform architect for options clearing, one of the stock clearing company. So today's topic, I'm going to talk about the convergence of AI, cybersecurity, and cloud technologies. Why this topic is important is because um, most of the organizations are adopting the AI techniques, and also the cybersecurity is more important for us to protect the data in the organizations. And the convergence of AI, cybersecurity, and cloud technologies are no longer silos. I'm going to talk about that in detail, how that can be adopted, what's the best possible techniques you can use to build it yourself. So the new enterprise IT landscape, why convergence matters. As I mentioned, right, interconnected domain. So AI is not no AI, cybersecurity, cloud. They are no longer be a silos. They are not. They're always be connected each other. They should be connected each other. The reason of why I'm talking about is so you need to integrate. You need to protect the data, defend the data. Attackers coming into pictures, they would use several techniques to attack. It's a modern way of attacking techniques. I'll talk about those techniques in the next couple of minutes. So what it means is in the organization, what we need to do is to make sure that all these systems combine together and build a unified solution to meet your organization goal, achieve the zero trust, like zero secure, more secure platform, zero trust architecture platform. So as you can see, the organization's AI-powered attacks targeting cloud infrastructure. That's quite common. Everybody is using AI. People are talking about AI agents. A lot of AI agents they are building it. Most of them, they want to understand how the machine learning, how the security attacks that's happening with the organization. How do you protect that from happening? How do you defend and then attack? In your systems, an organization has to maintain the defense and attack tools and the services that they're going to be so protective so that they can build their systems more secure. If any attackers comes in, you have the ability to stop them. I'll tell you about those techniques, a couple of them in the next slides. AI transforming cybersecurity, defense, and offense. Both are needed. So AI-powered defense, you can see the automated threat detection and response. There are plenty of tools available to detect the technique. Let's say I will take an example of one of the cloud. I mean, most of them might have used AWS as one of those, right? So you can use in AWS. We have several threat detection tools available. You can protect the data, guardrails, guard duty, etc., and all those things, right? So, but they are not. They're probably a single cloud or multi. If you think about Azure, there is another way. Think about GCP, there is another way. You think about on-prem, there's another way. It's difficult for getting all those tools together and then have them in a centralized place, right? That's a challenge for most of the organizations. How do you adapt the design? So most of the attacks that's happening with, I'll talk about the attacks. You can see that in the slide. So deep fake social engineering attack. What do you mean by deep fake? I'm the CEO of AWS. They can create a fake video talking about CEO is talking about some organization changes everybody have to adopt. Oh, they'll be sending and distributing emails or messages to all the individuals in him. So CEO had made this decision, so I need to do something. So it's a panic. So you would immediately react to those panic, right? Should not be reacting. One of the key factor I would think about it, like when you set up an MFA, never ever use audio or video to set up MFA. So there are people who use them. I want to make myself not even in the systems that you are using, like cell phones and all. So you say that, okay, I'm going to use audio. I'm not going to talk about the several other tools that are available, but never ever use that, because there is a way we can actually detect those and then take those voice and convert those voice in a way that, okay, this guy is speaking, but not really the guy who's automated malware in generation. It's been there for a long time. Malware attacks are quite common across the organizations. Adding those malware systems and automating those malware systems and injecting the malware to the systems are quite common. Antiviruses and all this stuff. AI-driven reconnaissance. This is one of those modern techniques that most of them. Manual reconnaissance is very difficult to analyze, like web scraping the website, public data that you have posted across the platform about the organization, and they can use their different AI models, machine learning models, and the AI is to detect and collect the information, more information about that, and then analyze those data to attack the systems. That's one of the ways. So when they are collecting this information, they have all the information about the company. So never ever put any of the public information or sensitive information in the public and allowing the attackers to use those information to attack you. That's one of the modern techniques most of them are using. So when you're building in your organization, you also build the same modern techniques to attack internally to see whether my system is defending. As you can see, the behavioral changes of system talks about the defension in my slide. With the 25 minutes of time, I can't speak on how we can detect it. You can always reach out to me for more details how we can protect that from hacking. I wanted to talk about another important factor is polymorphic attack vectors. What do you mean by polymorphic attack vector? So you build something code or develop something. You think that the code is working fine, and then you pretty much decide on that being available. They can inject the code with some information of changing the signature and changing something. You don't even know that. Today, this code is working fine and everything is working fine, and just if I were to tomorrow, same code is behaving differently. That you don't even know that. That's one of the technique, modern technique they can use. There are many models. I'm not going to talk about the models here. So what it happens is the attackers would use these techniques to attack your system. Most of the organization adopting AI and cloud technologies, almost everybody is using cloud in any organization. So attackers are very keen on getting those information to see how they can steal the data. So, if you have any organization do not want to tolerate losing their reputation or the data, you would have to pay millions or millions of money back, right? So organization, especially for the finance sector, they gotta be very careful of protecting those data, defending those data. You have to build internally these systems, defending attacks and then attacking techniques, so that you are protecting your systems by all of this. So the digital transformation backbone, I collected from based on the data source. You can see that that's data collected. So 94% of the enterprises now use cloud services in some capacity. May not be full, but some capacity. So it is high. That means almost every company is using cloud, whether it is AWS, Google, or GCP, or Oracle, Amazon, private cloud, whatever it is. So, and some companies, they have the multi-cloud and some companies hybrid cloud. So multi-cloud strategy, 76% is attack surface growth has been increased for the past couple of years, 3.2 times. Then how do you make sure you can protect your sensitive information and data? That's important. to understand. I'll talk about the framework that I've been suggesting to most of the customers. So, what is the techniques you're gonna use to build it? Rise of unified security platform. One thing unified means um, you have several integrated data flows. Some companies have APIs are integrated across several integrated data flows. And some companies have cloud native solutions, some companies have hybrid solutions. They have used some tools to, um, protect or guardrail the data that they have in cloud versus the others. But all and all together, you do not have a unified solution. It's no longer be a single silo solution because tomorrow it's going to change the world of having these systems integrated across the organization. So you have to build a unified security. I have thousands of tools available for building. For example, I can take a cloud native or a microservices, container security. There are several tools available. I don't want to talk about like System, etc., and all those tools. So similar tools does the same thing for others. It's not about tools. Reducing the tool set and implementing a centralized, unified security platforms are the paramount. So that you have one place where you can monitor your systems and also detect those systems, any fraud, fraudulent activities, things like that. So uh, rise of unified security platform has been evolving. Many of the organizations thinking towards how we can achieve that and all the stuff happening. So as I talked about cybersecurity, SOC complaints, I can talk about the platforms like cybersecurity, data governance, cloud governance, and then AI tools and the governance, all of them together. You need to protect those and create the unified tools. Reduce the tool set to as much as less as you can. And the tools that you are bringing into your organization should be adapted and make sure those tools are good enough to handle the security. Industry case study financial services collected from as you can see that at the bottom, you can see I collected those information from publicly available. Leading financial institution implemented AI-driven security orchestration across their multi-cloud environment, reducing security incidents by 67%, improving response time from hours to minutes. So you have multiple tools. If you don't use those tools, obviously you tend to have many of even cloud providers have made many mistakes. Most of the mistakes you see in this configuration change. You made a big mess of configuration that needs to be solved, right? Uh, you can see that in the online. There are several cloud events occur due to those kind of things. So assessment, assess, and integration are the phases that we need to make sure how you can integrate, assess your organization goal, what your services you've been using, and come up with the plan. So this plan may not work for the other organization. It depends on your goal, your system. It may not, but the technique, the flow and the technique will remains the same. The framework remains the same. So then, so this is one of the industry cases, right? So most of the cases, critical challenges in convergence. So of course, yeah, I have everything combined together, but how do you maintain that? The risk, right? AI security risk, cloud misconfiguration, as I talked about, and the skills gap. So cybersecurity and AI skills are lagging. I know a lot of people are learning about what AI techniques, so AI system tools, etc., but not really the fact that those are really helping the organization on. What is that the use case that you're targeting? So I talked about polymorphic in the previous one of the AI attack, security risks that using model poisoning and adversarial attacks. they can make your models changing, and your system thinks that it's working fine, but the behavioral will keep changing to get your data out of it. Those behavioral changes, you've got to be careful and then protect and defend those information. So always have to see the patterns that's happening. And then you have the automated systems in place to detect this and remediate those. As soon as you see the behavior, block it. Then think about, okay, I see this behavior and blocked immediately. So I want to see how do we prevent this. It may be a good behavior that changes made by the application that no one even aware of it, or it could be a wrong behavior. But defense, immediate defense, the system that you build, you can build an agent, you can build an agent. I'm not going to talk about the tech. I'm going to talk about how you can do it, what tools you're going to use, and depending on your organizations. Obviously, the skill gap, as I mentioned, AI expert starters in security teams. AI, you can build the systems in AI. You brought the models. Let's say I'll talk about the anthropic models we have available in AI, like Cloudy and all, right? So dev spaces you're integrating with Cloudy and all. So you don't know what's happening behind the scene. This user generates the code. Wow, get my job done. But that's a developer thing. But how do you make sure that security knows that every single call you make the model is that secure, right? That's very important. So you build your defensive and attacking techniques within the organization to protect your data and any incident from the security. Here's what I was talking about: strategic recommendations for enterprise success. Adopt zero trust architecture. I think you might have heard about zero trust in several places. So you should not trust any of the platform you build. Make sure that you have a proper security in place. Protocols are defined. You have encryption are in place, and the accessibility are backed. Accessibility standards, role-based access models. There are plenty. I'm not talking about what you can bring. There are many ways to achieve that. Containers have its own security, container security, container detection, and container scanning, etc. Blah, blah. So, but the adopting the zero trust architecture is most important, and consolidate security stack. As I told, I have the security stacks for the cloud that's being monitoring SIEM. Probably you guys have heard about that on most of the organizations. So basically, uh, it looks for the security events that's happening. So I can take an example of AWS Security Hub is one thing, right? So you monitor every event that's being connected and then take actions based on what happened. But it's only for single. But how do you consolidate those security stacks in one place so that all systems are tracked in a proper way so that you can actually build the systems much better? Strengthen the vendor risk management. That's very important. AI governance, data governance, security posture, and compliance of all the cloud that you pick and choose. There are many AI service providers that think that, okay, I have this AI built out and I want to show that it's good feature, it works really well, but it's a cool feature. Is it secure enough to use in our platform? How far you can use it? The boundaries that you need to set. If I'm developing something I want to develop, but I should use this tool, but it has a way to get the sensitive information in the organization, then you should set the boundaries and do it, right? Click those boundaries only to the specific to that boundary. To perfect those systems in a way, the strengthen the platforms. Obviously, invest in talent, development, keep developing the stuff. You might be failing for 10 seconds and third time and time, but you keep developing skills, keep developing the stuff that you are so interested in. So, at the same time, the technology is evolving. Today, I'm talking about AI everywhere. It's just coming, like several people are talking about building the AI agents and all. Tomorrow they're going to talk about the quantum systems and all. 2030, you'll see those things. I'm going to talk about that in the next slide. Emerging technologies and compliance. Quantum computing, that's coming. And most of the big techs, every company being spending millions and billions of dollars on the quantum cryptography preparation. So that's gonna be crucial for the system. How do you the large system? So it's a very large scale platform. Nowadays, a couple of years, 20 years ago, uh, small disk with 1 GB is like a big. Oh, it's a huge data. Like it's not like data is driven everywhere. You can store anywhere. And systems are in a way to process those data. So you have to build those. So we are going towards quantum computing and extended reality, new attack vectors in virtual environments. I talked about AI attacks, how that's happening, what techniques they are using to build those things, and edge computing, distributed security challenge in network, periphery, things like that. Most of the key insights, as you can see on the slide, organizations proactively integrate AI-driven cybersecurity with cloud-native architecture when it's 40%. That's the data I've collected. I also have done some analysis, research on different companies to see how they are doing versus what they are achieving overall. But still, there is a lot of gap here to improve. It's coming, and people are doing a lot of several POCs on the AI. It may not be successful at some point. We will see that in the next couple of years. There are many agents developing. If you go to any conference, they talk about from AI tools. So regulatory compliance landscape, building those rule sets to ensure that always mitigate the risk. Always choose what the risk factor would look like. So let me tell you an example. So what you can divide the risk into multiple. I cannot tolerate this risk. That means not everything. Don't do anything. I cannot tolerate it. I don't let the systems to do it. So, and then I have a medium tolerance. That's that. Then think about how far you can set the bar. So many ways. Techniques, I can speak on those whenever I could, but yeah, feel free to reach out to me for those details. And enhancing data sovereignty, right? So you have a classification of the data, whether the data is sensitive enough, business sensitive, or critical, or non-critical. You've got to classify and define those boundaries. Define those boundaries. It's very important. And you EU AI Act implementation requirements are coming. I think it's a new landscape rules are defining 2025 and 26. That's available. What it means is it creates the regulatory rules for how the regulators think that, okay, this is the rule that I'm gonna, as I talked about, right? Um, how do you protect? What is your sensitivity of that? And what tools you can go and use those. So that the governance, the rules you have to build, every organization have to build and restrict the rules. I can only tolerate this level, so I'm not able to make the system. So isolation and the protection and detection and build your attacking technique, not just looking for somebody attack and then take action. Do your proactiveness. And my systems are good enough to defend the data that you think is sensitive enough. With that, I think there are embracing coverages for secure agile future, strategic vision, competitive advantage, continuous innovation. Let's lead this transformation confidently, securing today, innovating for tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thank you. Wait,